To find the volume of a composite solid, just like we did with area, we're either going to need to add or subtract pieces. So in this case, it looks like I have a larger figure, which turns out to be a triangular prism. So I'll label that. Not a pyramid, it doesn't come to a single point, it is a triangular prism. The base is this triangle in the front. And then it looks like I have a hole drilled out of the center, sort of pegged out of the center. And that centerpiece looks to be a square prism. I'll just call it a rectangular prism. And what I'll want to do to find the volume is, let's find the volume of the entire figure, the triangular prism. But since we have a hole in this figure, we'll need to be subtracting the volume of the rectangular prism. So that's going to be our thinking. Just like, very similar to what we did with area, we're going to do the bigger figure and subtract off the volume that we don't want. And so to find volume of a prism, we need to find the area of the base and we need to find the height. So let's go ahead and do two separate blanks for this. So rectangular prism and triangular prism, it's area of the base and its height. Well, the height for both of them is going to be the same. Recall that height's not always vertical. Height is just the distance between the two bases. Since the bases are in the front and back this time, those triangles or those squares, my height's actually going to be 6. So let's go ahead and get that filled out for both figures. And I'm going to cross it out in the diagram because I don't need that number again. Let's do the rectangular prism first. That's a bit easier. The area of the base of the rectangular prism is going to be the area of this square piece right here. I know it's a square because I can see the tick marks telling me that all the sides are the same. So if the side of the square is 3, the area of that square is going to be 9, 3 times 3. And so to find the volume of the rectangular prism, all I need to do is do base times height. 9 times 6 gets me 54. So the volume of the rectangular prism is 54. That's the piece I'll need to be subtracting from the triangular prism. Speaking of, let's go ahead and move back to that shape. So I need to find the area of this triangle. To find the area of a triangle, it's base times height. Unfortunately, I don't have the height of that triangle. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and draw that base separately just so the picture's not so overwhelming. I can see that all sides of the triangle are 10, so I'll get all those labeled as 10. And I know the base, okay, the base is going to be 10 because, well, all the sides are 10. The problem is I don't have the height figured out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in the height. Drop the height down in there, and it's going to be perpendicular to the base. So that's the side I want to find. Well, as you can probably guess at this point, we've done this 1,000 times this year, it seems. I'm going to need to use the Pythagorean theorem to find that height. Looking just at that purple triangle, the bottom piece of it's just going to be 5. That height is split the bottom piece in half. And so what I'll need to do is 5 squared plus h squared, that's what I'm trying to find, is equal to 10 squared. And remember, I need to find that height because I'm trying to find the area of this triangle. So doing a little math, I've got 25 plus h squared equals to 100. If I subtract 25 from both sides, h squared is equal to 75. And finally, I'll take a square root, and that missing height comes out to be about 8.66. Now that's the number I need right now. It's not my final number. I still have a little bit of work to do. Like, that's not the number that's going to go in my blank back up top. But that number gets me what I need to know. I'm trying to find the area of this base, the area of this triangle. And so I can now do that. The area of a triangle, recall, is 1/2 times the base of the triangle, times the height of the triangle. So 1/2 times 10 times 8.66. And that gets me a base area of about 43.3. And that's the number I need to go back into the problem that I was solving. So back up to the original problem. Don't you love these multi-step problems? I think they're so fun. So my base area, we just calculated that to be 43.3. Which means I can now find the volume of the triangular prism. The area of the base times the height gets me a volume of about 259.8. And then finally, to finish this, so I have 259.8, that's the entire volume, but I don't want to include the 54. That 54 is that piece we kind of knocked out of the center of it. So subtracting those two volumes gets me a remaining volume of 205.8, and since we are dealing with volume, let's make sure we have our label feet squared, or feet cubed in this case.